Hello, I'm Rachael Cordina and I'm a cardiologist from Sydney who looks after people living with a Fontan circulation, and I'm chair of the ANZ Fontan Registry. And the guys at ANZFAC have asked me to talk to you for a few minutes about COVID-19. Now, obviously, the last few months have been incredibly stressful for everybody for a whole range of reasons, let alone if you're living with a Fontan circulation or your child or the person you care for is living with a Fontan circulation. And I think living with that fear and uncertainty has made things very difficult for a lot of people that I look after and that I know of through the Fontan community. First of all, I want to reassure you a little bit that speaking to centres overseas who have been much more badly affected with COVID-19, it doesn't seem like people living with a Fontan circulation in general are extremely high risk. Now, there is a lot of uncertainty, and obviously we can't give you a 100% guarantee about that. And also common sense tells us that probably some of our more frail people who have a Fontan circulation or who have associated problems like immune issues or lung problems, that they might be at increased risk. And so it is worthwhile checking with your specialists about whether they think that your risk might be especially high or your child's risk. And if that's the case, it does mean that we need you to think a little bit more carefully about whether you should be working from home if that's possible, or whether your child should be going to school. Now, that also depends a little bit on what the rates are in the community at the time, and so we need to take that into consideration. How high is the risk that you would be exposed if you were on public transport or mixing with a lot of people? But there's one big point that I want to emphasise to you today, and that is, don't let the COVID-19 pandemic impact on your health and your access to appropriate medical care. And one thing that really worries me and lots of other doctors is that people are not going to be seeking help, and they're going to be missing tests and appointments that they need because they're frightened. Now, the one good thing about COVID is that it's made it much easier for you to be able to access telehealth, either on the telephone or via your home computer. And if you are frightened of going into your appointment, even if you've received like an automatic reminder to attend, you can ring your doctors and let them know that you'd prefer to be seen via a telehealth appointment, and at least then we can decide whether any tests are needed or whether we can delay them for a little while. But please make sure that you're not putting yourself at risk because you're frightened. And there are lots of ways you can access appropriate health care at the moment, and your doctors aren't going to force you to come in for unnecessary appointments, but it's worth talking it over with them. Okay, anyway, I hope you're all keeping safe and letting people know and reaching out if you're not managing at the moment. It's a really difficult time, and I'm thinking of you all.